By the end of this training, you'll be able to define harassment and discrimination, define gender, gender identity, and gender expression, understand the behaviors identified as harassment or discrimination, and describe the reporting process for potential discrimination or harassment situations.
People are at the heart of our business.
At ABM, how we treat our clients is critical to us, continuing to lead our industry.
But how we treat each other is critical in ensuring we continue to succeed.
Wherever we work, in whatever environment,
we need to follow a few simple rules to ensure everyone feels confident and respected at work.
We want to create an environment where everyone can be their best.
We have a document outlining our full policy against harassment, which everyone should read. There are a few things we wanted to highlight.
No bullying is allowed, ever. It's not tolerated for any reason.
Obscene gestures are never appropriate in the workplace.
Let's talk sex. Kissing or hugging team members is not allowed. And certainly no sex or sexual interactions of any kind at work.
Viewing or sending pornography while at a work site on a company device or company time is a no-no.
And texting photos of your body parts to other team members is never acceptable.
You'll likely meet clients or tenants as part of your job. Do not send them a love note, ask them on a date, or express romantic interest in them.
you might work in a school. Maintain a physical distance from the students at all times. If they need help, find a member of the school staff.
You might work in a hospital, and having physical contact with patients is part of your job.
This is obviously fine, but don't engage in any physical contact that isn't essential for you to do your job.
Romantic relationships between managers, supervisors, or leads and their team members is never okay.
If two team members wish to pursue a romantic relationship, let HR know so we can ensure you're not working on the same team.
If you're offended by conduct in your workplace, speak up.
You have a responsibility to help keep our company a great environment for us all to work in.
ABM has a confidential telephone hotline, which is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and can take calls in many languages.
You can remain anonymous if you wish.
Team members will not be retaliated against for reporting inappropriate behavior.
It's on all of us.
It's on us to do the right thing and follow company policies.
It's on us to take responsibility.
It's on us to make sure we don't look the other way when we see something wrong happening in our workplace.
People are at the heart of our business.
People are at the heart of our business.
At ABM, our core values are respect,
Integrity.
Collaboration.
Innovation.
Trust.
And excellence.
Throughout this training, we'll be talking about discrimination and harassment in the workplace. The purpose of this training is to explore what we need to do as an organization and as individuals to help maintain a positive, productive working environment, as well as minimize the chance of ABM being a part of a costly lawsuit. To begin, let's talk about discrimination and what it means. Discrimination occurs when a person or group of people are treated differently from another person or group of people due to a protected class. Discrimination is prohibited when the difference in treatment is due to a protected status such as race, sex, religion, national origin, age, disability, and a few others that we'll discuss later on in the training. Now let's move on to the definition of harassment. Harassment means to trouble, worry, or torment someone on a persistent basis due to a protected status. Usually a one-time offense is not considered harassment in the eyes of the law, unless it is especially awful. Sexual harassment, on the other hand, is defined as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or conduct of a sexual nature, whether it be verbal, physical, or visual. It can also include conduct that is not sexual in nature, but is gender-related. Sexual harassment includes the harassment of the same or of the opposite sex.
I was always in a good mood. Then it happened.
My coworker approached me from the back, grabbed me, and pressed down on my shoulders hard. I tried to get away, but he pressed down on me even harder.
The things she said to me while laughing sarcastically.
Does your husband please you like this? Does he get you excited?
With his hands on me, I was shaking and numb.
I was physically there, but emotionally far, far away.
I can't believe my coworker thought he could touch me that way.
It made me never want to do anything or go anywhere.
It's not just flirting, just a hug, or just a joke. There is no excuse.
This is sexual harassment.
You're right. You cannot be discriminated against in the workplace because of your age, color, disability, gender, immigration status, national origin, pregnancy, race, religion, and sexual orientation, among other protections. Now, you will watch a video about gender. The video is audio described for people who are blind or have low vision.
In a classroom, two people present.
We're going to take 2 minutes to talk about gender.
Oh, this has nothing to do with me. Well, actually, gender does have to do with you.
Not to me.
Hold on. Everyone has a relationship with gender.
Whether you've thought about gender a little or a lot, it has impacted you. How you were named, what clothes you wear, expectations about what jobs you can do, and you get the point. Yep, every single person watching this video has been taught about gender from the very beginning, from birth.
We like to define people, right? So when people are born, society defines them by looking at their reproductive organs and labels them male or female.
It's a girl! Well, actually, it's more complicated than that.
Gender can be broken down into gender expression or gender identity. Let's look at some gender identities.
I'm Sophie, and I'm cisgender. The majority of people in our world identify as cisgender, sometimes without us even knowing it. Cis means I identify with the gender I was assigned at birth. When I was born, the doctor said,
"It's a girl."
And I still identify as a woman today.
Hi, I'm Tamara. I'm also a woman. So when I was a baby...
Man holds a blue blanket.
It's a boy.
Tamara pulls away the blanket, revealing a pink one.
No. I'm a trans woman. I identify as a woman. Even though when I was born, I was assigned something different.
A man who has deaf signs.
I'm Garrett. I'm a cisgender man. When I was born, everyone said...
People throw blue balloons.
And today, I identify as a man.
Hi, I'm Bailey.
People surround Bailey with pink.
And I'm also a man, even though I was assigned female at birth.
People tear away pink to reveal blue.
I'm a trans man.
Hi, I'm C.
Hi, I'm Lindsay, and we're non-binary.
For me, that means I don't identify as either a woman or a man.
C and Lindsay are handed multicolored balloons.
And for me, that means I don't identify with a gender at all.
Lindsay tosses balloons.
Okay, but I'm confused. I mean, what about gender and sexuality?
Oh, I know. Sexuality is about who you're attracted to.
Yes.
So are you gay?
Nope. Gender and sexuality are both part of our identities, but they're completely different categories.
So don't assume someone's sexuality based on their gender.
Now let's dive into gender expression. Let me ask you something. If you're a cis man, do you need a plaid shirt? Bulging muscles? To have no room for tears? To love sports?
Man is thrown a football.
No!
Man misses football.
This might work for some and not others. Why? Because there's no one way to express masculinity or femininity. That's for you to decide.
Everyone's allowed to have their own relationship to gender. But there are different things that may affect how the world views your gender.
Or how you choose to express it. For example, makeup. Do you wear it? How do you wear it? How colorful do you make it?
Hair, is it short? Is it long? More natural? Braided? Did you shave it all off?
Clothes. Do you wear skirts? Pants? Both? Do you accessorize?
Body language. How do you walk? How do you sit?
A person signs.
All of these things can be expressions of gender.
You might express your gender differently at different points in your life.
For example, do you dress differently than you did as a middle schooler?
Photo of a middle schooler in a yearbook.
Thankfully, gender expression can evolve as you grow as a person.
Bottom line, you understand your identity better than anyone else.
No matter how you identify, you deserve to be believed and respected.
Gender includes gender identity and gender expression. Your gender may not be the same as your sex assigned at birth. Here at ABM, we promote and encourage diversity and inclusion by raising awareness and providing strategies and tools to bring to life our mission to make a difference every person, every day. And that's both internally within our organization and externally with each of our clients by respecting all individuals, regardless of characteristics that may make them different.
Did you know 5 million workers experience sexual harassment each year? What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment is always connected to gender. This may include sexual behavior. It can be behavior that is offensive or threatening or demeaning or embarrassing or something similar. These terms are complicated. The following stories will explain what these terms mean. Now you will hear stories of sexual harassment.
I'm Liang. I'm a financial analyst. I feel uncomfortable at work because the office is a boys' club. Men call out numbers to rate women's looks as they walk by. Women are told to wear high heels and tight dresses. Work events are held at strip clubs. Because I don't want to go to those events, I lose out on new clients.
Is it sexual harassment? Liang's co-workers disrespect women. The workplace culture puts Liang and other women at a disadvantage. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Liang does not need to be personally targeted for this to be sexual harassment. The purple hexagon icon means the behavior is connected to gender. The red triangle icon means the behavior is offensive or threatening, or demeaning or embarrassing or something similar.
Let's review.
Did you know more than 1 in 3 women experience sexual harassment in the workplace?
Hi, I'm Javier. I'm a preschool teacher. My performance review is coming up. If I get a good review, I might get a raise. On Friday, we all went out for drinks after work. My supervisor, Sophie, flirted with me all night. She put her hands on my leg under the table. It made me uncomfortable. I worry that if I tell her to stop, I won't get a good review, and I could really use a raise.
Is it sexual harassment? Sophie touched Javier in a sexual way. If it is about sexual desire, then it is connected to gender. As his boss, Sophie can give Javier a bad performance review. Javier feels like he does not have the power to say no. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Power. People often do not feel comfortable saying no to their bosses. Sexual harassment is more likely to continue when people can't say no. A note about no. No comes in many forms. Verbal no means no. Body language can mean no. Excuses can mean no. A tone of voice can mean no. Maybe can mean no. Where did it happen? The sexual harassment did not happen at the preschool. It happened at a bar outside of the preschool. Sexual harassment can occur outside the workplace. For example, sexual harassment can happen at a work party while traveling for work or at a client's office.
Let's review. Now, let's talk about cultural competence. Cultural competence refers to an ability to interact effectively with people of different cultures. The goal of a culturally competent organization is to eliminate disparities between different cultural groups. So what can you do to be more culturally competent? Well, you can learn about other cultures, as well as not making assumptions of people based on their culture.
I'm Anna. I'm an undocumented immigrant and clean buildings at night. One night, my boss told me to clean a bathroom alone and followed me in. He pushed me against the wall and grabbed my breast. Luckily, I escaped. Later, he threatened to have me deported if I didn't have sex with him. I'm terrified.
Sexual assault. This is sexual assault because the boss touched Anna without her consent. Sexual assault is a crime. Anna can report the assault to the police. Anna can report regardless of her immigration status. Sexual assault is sexual harassment if it is connected to work. Is it sexual harassment? The boss threatened to have Anna deported if she didn't have sex with him. Remember, if it is about sexual behavior, then it is connected to gender. Yes, this is sexual harassment. A threat in exchange for sexual favors is sexual harassment. Threats. It is sexual harassment if you were pressured or threatened into a sexual act. This is true even if you went along with it. Forcing, pressuring, or threatening someone to do a sexual act is illegal. Undocumented workers. Anna's boss made threats related to her immigration status. Undocumented people are more vulnerable to sexual harassment and assault because they may be less likely to report. Threats about deportation are discriminatory and illegal.
I'm Mike. I work on a construction site with a team of 5 men. They talk about their sexual experiences throughout the day, which makes me uncomfortable. I don't join in. 2 guys give me a hard time. They say I'm not a real man. They also joke about me having sex with other men.
Is it sexual harassment? The men on Mike's team are targeting Mike based on gender stereotypes. Jokes about masculinity, sex life, and sexual orientation often make people uncomfortable. Yes, this is sexual harassment. This is sexual harassment whether or not Mike is gay.
Let's review.
Did you know 13% of men have experienced sexual harassment at work?
My name is Danny. I'm a server at a restaurant. Most people think I'm a woman, but I'm non-binary. I do not identify as a man or as a woman. My manager said I will have to dress like a woman if I want to become a manager. He told me I need to look like a quote-unquote hot waitress. He also said I should flirt with the customers because that's what they like.
Is it sexual harassment? The manager's comments are about Danny's gender expression. It is illegal for the manager to require Danny to change Danny's appearance to look more feminine or sexy. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Did you know 90% of transgender and non-binary people report experiencing harassment in the workplace?
I'm Jessica. I'm a high school student. I have a part-time job at a clothing store. On my first day, my manager, Anthony, said to me,
"Your body looks amazing in that dress. Black girls have curves."
I was offended, but my coworker told me it wasn't sexual because Anthony's gay. Still, I don't like being judged for my looks.
Is it sexual harassment? Anthony made an offensive comment about Jessica's body. A comment about someone's body is connected to gender. Some comments, even if they are meant as compliments, can be sexual harassment. It does not matter that Anthony is gay. Sexual attraction is not required for behavior to be sexual harassment. Yes, this is sexual harassment.
Let's review.
Sexual harassment can overlap with other forms of discrimination. Sexual harassment and race. Anthony's comment is about Jessica's body as a woman and as a black person. Women of color experience sexual harassment at higher rates than white women. Sexual harassment often overlaps with discrimination based on race, national origin, religion, and sexual orientation. Did you know part-time workers and interns have workplace rights?
I'm Rachel. I am a research assistant at a lab. I just came back from maternity leave. When I take a break to pump breast milk, my male coworkers say things like,
"Hey Rachel, can I get some milk with my coffee? How about you do one and I'll do the other?"
I feel horrible every day.
Is it sexual harassment? The comments are about Rachel's body. Offensive comments about pregnancy or breastfeeding are sexual harassment. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Pregnant and breastfeeding workers. Pregnant and breastfeeding workers are protected from discrimination. Workers also have rights to accommodations for pregnancy, recovery from childbirth, and to pump breast milk at work.
I'm Max. I work at a tech company. I went on 3 dates with my supervisor, Aaron. I decided I didn't want to date him anymore, so I told Aaron I just wanted to be friends. A few days later, Aaron asked me if I wanted to go to his place after work. I said I was tired, but the truth is, I'm just not that interested. The next day, Aaron sent me a text that said, "You look really good today," with a kissy emoji. It made me feel really uncomfortable.
Is it sexual harassment? Aaron continued to pursue Max after Max said he just wanted to be friends. Aaron is Max's supervisor. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Is it sexual harassment? Ask yourself, 1. Is the behavior connected to my gender? 2. Is the behavior offensive or threatening or demeaning or embarrassing or something similar?
Let's review. Now I'd like to talk to you about abusive conduct. Abusive conduct is considered behavior in the workplace that a reasonable person would find hostile, offensive, and unrelated to an employer's legitimate business interests. Abusive conduct can include behavior such as repeated infliction of verbal abuse, such as the use of derogatory remarks and insults, verbal or physical conduct that a reasonable person would find threatening, intimidating, or humiliating, and the gratuitous sabotage or undermining of a person's work performance. A single act shall not constitute abusive conduct unless it is considered especially severe. Another important definition to remember is a hostile work environment. A hostile work environment is when unlawful behavior due to a protected status is so severe or pervasive that it is intimidating, hostile, or abusive to a reasonable person, and it makes it difficult to function on the job. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has stated that all employees have the right to work in an environment free from unlawful discrimination and harassment. This means that organizations and, in some cases, employees can be held liable for any behavior that is considered illegal discrimination or harassment.
What are my rights? You have the right to work in a harassment-free workplace. Gender discrimination. You also have the right to be free from gender discrimination. You cannot be treated badly because of your gender. Examples of gender discrimination: paying a woman less than a man because she is a woman, giving a man less parental leave because he is a man, not hiring a non-binary person because they are gender non-conforming. Did you know 30% of male managers say they are uncomfortable working alone with a woman out of fear of complaints of sexual harassment? Women in the workplace. Men, do not avoid working with women because you're afraid of sexual harassment complaints. That is gender discrimination. To avoid sexual harassment complaints, do not sexually harass people. What must an employer do? Employers must stop sexual harassment. Managers and supervisors. The employer is automatically responsible for the actions of the manager or supervisor. This includes if the manager or supervisor sexually harasses someone, or if the manager or supervisor fails to do something to stop sexual harassment. Individual consequences. Managers and supervisors may be personally legally responsible if they do not act to stop sexual harassment, or if they are the sexual harassers. Sexual harassment between coworkers. Employers, managers, and supervisors must act if they know about sexual harassment between coworkers. If they have reason to know something is going on and ignore the warning signs, the employer can be legally responsible. Is the employer responsible?
My name is Sonia. I'm a transgender woman and a graphic designer. Right now, I'm doing contract work for a nonprofit. I'm working out of the nonprofit's office for a few months. The staff make it hard for me to be there. Someone taped a drawing of me with a penis on the fridge. I showed it to a manager. She didn't do anything.
Is it sexual harassment? The staff made and displayed an offensive drawing of Sonia. The drawing makes fun of Sonia's gender. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Is the manager responsible? Yes, the manager must take action to stop the behavior of the staff. If the manager does not act, the organization is legally responsible. Did you know many independent contractors have the same workplace rights as employees?
I'm Fatima. I'm a receptionist at a hotel. I'm a Muslim woman and wear a hijab. There's a male guest who stays here regularly, and every time I see him, he asks if he can see my hair. Today he said,
"Does your boyfriend get to see your hair? I'd love to be the guy to take that off."
I told my boss what was going on, and she's done nothing.
Is it sexual harassment? The guest is making inappropriate sexual comments about Fatima's appearance. Sexual comments are connected to gender. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Is the boss responsible? Yes, because the boss knows about the guest's comments and could do something about it. An employer is responsible if they don't take action to stop harassment by a third party. A third party is someone who is in the workplace but does not work there, like a client, customer, or guest. Sexual harassment and religion. Fatima is also being harassed because she is Muslim. People who wear religious attire are particularly at risk for employment discrimination, verbal harassment, and physical assault. Religious discrimination is illegal.
My name is Lourdes. I am a nanny. The family that I work for is renovating their apartment. The construction workers are always there. One of them tells me how beautiful I am and how I should smile more. He asks me out every day. I always say I'm not interested. It bothers me, especially because he does it in front of the kids. I told the mother of the family. She said that it doesn't sound that bad and that I should just tell him to stop.
Is it sexual harassment? The construction worker asks out Lourdes every day at her workplace. Her workplace is the family's home. Repeatedly asking someone out can be sexual harassment. Yes, this is sexual harassment. Is the mother responsible? Yes, the mother knew of the harassment and allowed it to continue. The family is Lourdes's employer. They must stop sexual harassment. An employer must take action to stop harassment by a third party. Vulnerable workers. People who work in small or isolated workplaces are at greater risk for sexual harassment. Examples of vulnerable workers are nannies, cleaners of hotels, offices, or homes, and home health aides. All workers, even if they are the only employee, have workplace rights.
Let's review.
Sexual harassment harms the workplace. Sexual harassment can cause quitting or absences, low productivity, low morale, and interpersonal conflicts. Sexual harassment hurts everyone, not just the person being harassed. Consequences for employers. Employers may have to pay victims for lost wages and emotional harm. Employers may also be required to pay fines, change policies, be monitored, and/or take trainings. Remember, employers, managers, and supervisors, if you know about sexual harassment, you must take action to stop it. How should the employer respond?
Today, the construction worker asked me out again, but this time he asked me where I lived. I was worried he would follow me home. I told the mother of the family I worked for. This time she took action. She told the contractor that the worker could not continue working in her home.
What did the employer do? The mother reported the situation to the contractor and demanded that the worker no longer work in her home. Employers should take complaints seriously and act immediately.
The bank promoted several women to the leadership team. The new leadership created a group to provide input on how to improve the workplace. Then, the bank updated its policies on sexual harassment. It also banned inappropriate locations for client meetings, including strip clubs.
What did the employer do? The bank listened to its employees and developed new policies to address the employees' concerns about sexual harassment. Did you know complaints of sexual harassment decrease when women are in positions of leadership?
I told another manager about the drawing. This manager took down the drawing, investigated the incident, and brought in a trainer to talk about gender identity and sexual harassment, and everyone attended. The incident was bad, but the manager's response made it better.
What did the manager do? The manager immediately removed the drawing. The manager quickly began an investigation. The manager brought in a trainer to address the problem. Managers and supervisors must take immediate action.
My boss was standing next to me when the guest checked out. The guest said,
"You Muslim girls would look so much prettier without that thing on your head."
So my boss said to the guest, "Please don't speak to the staff that way." The guest said,
"I'm allowed to say what I want."
My boss told the guest he's no longer welcome at the hotel.
What did the boss do? The boss first told the guest to stop. Then he told the guest to not return to the hotel. An employer must take action to stop sexual harassment, even if it means losing business. How should the employer respond? Encourage reporting. Take complaints seriously. Separate the people involved without punishing the person who complained. Investigate thoroughly and take corrective action quickly. Retaliation is illegal. Retaliation is punishment for speaking up about sexual harassment. When is it retaliation? Retaliation can happen after someone opposes sexual harassment, reports or files a complaint of sexual harassment, or participates in an investigation of sexual harassment. Here are examples of retaliation: firing, denial of a promotion, threats, a negative performance review, change in scheduling, exclusion from meetings.
I'm Ditya and I'm a cashier. A month ago, a male coworker told me he liked my new haircut. I reported him to my supervisor, Claire. Claire said she was annoyed that I made a big deal out of nothing. After, Claire took me off the schedule because she didn't want any more complaints.
Is it sexual harassment? Comments about appearance are often connected to gender. But the coworker's comment was not offensive. No, this is not sexual harassment. Is it retaliation? Yes, because Claire is punishing Ditya for reporting behavior. It does not matter whether the behavior was actually sexual harassment. If Ditya believed that it was, that is enough. The store is legally responsible for Claire's actions. Ways to stop retaliation. Employers should have a zero-tolerance policy for retaliation. Employers should have several ways to report sexual harassment. Employers must not hurt the employee who reported by, for example, moving the employee to a bad location, or making the employee work an unfair schedule.
Let's review.
An ally is a person who believes sexual harassment is wrong, supports victims of sexual harassment, and takes action to stop sexual harassment. Men as allies. Some men feel uncomfortable confronting sexual harassment, but male allies make a difference. 96% of organizations see progress when men promote gender equality. But only 30% of organizations see progress without men's support.
I told my coworker Maria that I hate walking by the harassers every day on my way to pump. I asked her for help. She offered to record the comments and jokes by making notes in her phone. She'll send them to me, then I'll decide what to do about it.
Maria helped Rachel by documenting the comments and giving the notes to Rachel. Document. Bystanders can help victims by taking photos and writing a note or an email describing what happened. Documenting the harassment may be helpful to the victim, but it is not required for the victim to have a claim. Bystanders can be victims too. The harassment may also affect Rachel's coworker, Maria. Sexual harassment does not only harm the target of the harassment. Sexual harassment can exist in the workplace culture. Maria has the right to work in a harassment-free workplace.
When I escaped the bathroom, I ran into my coworker. We went into an empty office so the boss couldn't see us. I told her what happened. She comforted me. Then she said, "You have options. You can report the incident." She offered to connect me to an organization that can help me.
Anna's co-worker supported Anna and told her about her options. Follow-up. Bystanders can check in with the victim after the situation has passed. Bystanders can offer help and support.
Steven, a guy on my team, knew that the other guys gave me a hard time. Steven has started interrupting the harassment. One day, when the guys started making fun of me, Steven called one of them over to give him a hand. That stopped the comments.
Steven interrupted the harassment by calling one of the harassers to a different area. Distract and interrupt. Bystanders can interrupt the behavior in a way that stops the harassment. Bystanders can find a way to separate the harasser and the victim. Bystander options. Bystanders have options. Confront the harasser. Document the behavior. Follow up with the victim. Distract or interrupt the situation. Bystanders can help create a harassment-free workplace.
The supervisor's responsibility. Supervisors and managers here at ABM are held to a high standard of behavior. This is because they are placed in a position of authority and must not abuse that authority. Supervisors must report any harassment that they observe or know of, even if no one is objecting this harassment. If a supervisor or manager receives report of harassment or is otherwise aware of harassment, it must promptly be reported to HR without exception. Even if the supervisor or manager thinks the conduct is trivial, or if the harassed individual asks that it not be reported. Supervisors and managers will be subject to discipline for failing to report suspected sexual harassment or otherwise knowingly allowing sexual harassment to continue. They will also be subject to discipline for engaging in any retaliation. Now I'd like to introduce you to a tool that will help you remember the broad steps for taking accountability and action when encountering uncomfortable situations in the workplace. Take a look at the 3 R's. Recognize, respond, and report. Following the 3 R's will help you get better at handling negative situations and addressing minor concerns immediately rather than letting them escalate. The first R is recognize. We've spent some time already exploring the importance of spotting behaviors that could be offensive or even illegal. So the first step is recognizing a potential discrimination or harassment situation. We also talked about the importance in reflecting on the bigger picture, to not make assumptions about why certain decisions are made or things are said. And while it's important not to overreact, it is also our responsibility to speak up when we suspect or witness harassing or discriminating behavior. Each of us is accountable for upholding policies and laws and for contributing to an environment free of discrimination and harassment. That brings us to the third R, which is respond. You need to respond if you are a target or if you see someone else being a target of discrimination or harassment. You should not be concerned about retaliation, your reputation, or safety when reporting issues. In essence, reporting a concern about harassment and discrimination should be treated like any other business issue that interferes with productivity and professionalism in the workplace. And remember, if you report a concern in good faith, you are protected from retaliation of any kind. Reports can be made anonymously and are also accepted online at abmhotline.ethicspoint.com. The hotline is staffed 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, and specialists are available to take calls in any language. Reports are taken by an unbiased vendor and are forwarded in a secure and confidential manner to an appropriate HR professional for prompt investigation. For issues other than those covered by this policy, please first discuss the situation with your immediate supervisor as a part of the company's open door policy. An explanation of this policy can be found in the Employee Policy Handbook.
At your workplace. Employers are required to have an anti-sexual harassment policy and complaint process. Employers must share their policy with employees. People who think they have experienced or have seen sexual harassment should report as soon as possible outside of your workplace. Outside of the workplace, victims can file a case against their employer and/or the harasser. Victims can file a complaint with an anti-discrimination agency or a case in New York State Court. To learn more about legal options, review the information on the website. Anti-discrimination agencies. If you are a victim of sexual harassment in New York City, there are 3 agencies that can help you. 1. New York City Commission on Human Rights. 2. New York State Division of Human Rights. And 3. U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You can file a claim even if you have an arbitration agreement. New York City Commission on Human Rights. Individuals may file with the New York City Commission on Human Rights if the sexual harassment occurred in New York City or impacts the employee's work in New York City, and the sexual harassment occurred within the last 3 years. New York City Commission on Human Rights. To file a complaint with the New York City Commission on Human Rights, call 311 and ask for Human Rights. Call 718-722-3131 or visit nyc.gov/humanrights. New York State Division of Human Rights. To file a complaint with the New York State Division of Human Rights, visit www.dhr.nys.gov. You must file within 1 year of the sexual harassment. U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. To file a charge with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, visit www.eeoc.gov. You must file within 300 days of the sexual harassment. If you want to file a complaint in federal court, you need to file with the EEOC first. New York State Court. Individuals may directly file a case in state court. Employees can consult an attorney to understand the options. You must file within 3 years of the sexual harassment. Local protections. Sexual harassment may be a crime if it involves things like physical touching, physical confinement, or pressure to have sex. You can contact your local police department. Remember, you have the right to work in a harassment-free workplace. Together we can build workplaces that treat everyone with the dignity and respect we deserve.